It's the Europa Conference League path fourth qualifying round draw. Just rolls off the tongue, doesn't it? We are apparently in the unseeded teams group, but group one of those, I don't know what that means. We're in 11.7 here, if you can see. Yeah. We'd like not to get Sevilla, who are 101. I mean, this is just kind of for fun, isn't it? Let's just draw all the teams. There's too much to cover in this episode. Who do we get? Atalanta. I don't know what that means. Atalanta finished last season in 7th. I mean, they're still darn good, right? But at least, they finished 3rd a couple seasons, then 7th. We will take that versus Sevilla, my friends. I'm now going to transport you magically back in time to our end of season stuff, because they have like the end of season awards, and oh my goodness, we've had so many transfers. This is going to be a giant transfer episode with some updates. Let's go do it. All right, it's the end of season review. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hitting the like button. There we go. Had to fix my not professional light. Anyway, here's our season review. I think the season review should just be my face. Not really, because the players did the work, but I helped bring them in. It was kind of interesting, right? Because you go like, oh, wow, like look at all of the people that came in, and like not all of them are me, but it just goes to show like how many new players came into the club. But I mean, you've got, right, like the backup goalkeeper came in, the guy that we would like to get rid of came in, Michael Nilor. Couple of B team players came in. Like that's a lot of players in one season to all be new. And then obviously the transfers out, there was a lot going on there as well. Now, some of that was us kind of like cleaning house. Some of it was loans, or not loans. I guess these are loans, but I don't really think any of this is super interesting or important, right? Like they gave a C to Gonzalez, Salmer, they gave a B-. I'm trying to think who else we specifically brought in, right? Eric, a C, even though he's got the magic star of the signing of the season. So there's your signing of the season. How is the signing of the season a C? I just want to ask that question. And then the guy that only had 2 substitute appearances, I guess because his cost was so low, is an A. But the guy who's the signing of the season for $500,000, who did us right, that could be that he just cost more money. I just think that's a bit odd. As you can see, my friend, we finished in 6th, A+. Tarem Moffi, top goal scorer in Ligue 1. Yes, top, like the top. Okay, kind of crazy. Angers are in the playoffs. I think they survived, if I remember correctly, going through the transfer window. Boy, I'd forgotten how long a transfer window was. Holy cow. Especially when you're still like in like rebuild mode. Whoa. Strasbourg and Dijon went down. Biggest win came under us, 4-0. Yeah, on January 30th. That was early in our career. Match to remember was beating Nice about a week later. And then goal of the season. How hard is it going to be click on this? Let's go watch it. All right, here we go. I was just trying to save you a couple seconds. That's Editor GHD loving you. Oh, this is the one where he went and like all the way down. We were like, oh, that's not going to work. And then he just zips it home far post. Okay, fair. I do think the one goal was at Salmer that was the volley like into the top corner was also pretty darn good. But, I'm not going to disagree too much. I always love to see the kit sales. 40, almost 400 sold. Malfi, Badu, Wissa, Grbic, and Boygal are our top kits sold. None of this really matters because we don't know what it was like before. Obviously, we lined up at a full 2-3-1, as you do. It's kind of interesting, really, when you look at it. It's like not many players over a 7.0, but, again, some of them had some pretty poor. Nardi with a 6.93 is kind of we'll call it a Christmas miracle, because he didn't start that way when we started. So player of the season, Badu, which is kind of interesting to me. Young player of the season, I guess they split the vote here, goes to Mofi. Signing of the season is obviously Eric. Goal of the season is Eric's. Top goal scorer is Mofi with 21. Boygaard with 7 assists. Mofi with 4 players of the match. But I guess Badu maybe was just the highest average rating. Is that why he also got fans player of the season? Most passes completed per 90 minutes, 68. That doesn't seem like a very good percentage. Like 7 ninths, 6.8 ninths. And then we can ignore all the record breakers because, you know, it was the first season of Football Manager as you were. So now, my friends, let me hop you forward to the transfer window. All right, so normally, in like a normal situation, I would wait until the end of the transfer window, which is August 31st, to show you everything. However, we also have the Europa Conference League games that we have to play, and you're going to see the players anyway. So I just want to give you an update. It's August 2nd. We're about to have our first league game. We're about to kick off the season. They gave us 8.31 million, which I thought was a tad bit high, to be honest with you, based on our overall bank balance, which was like about 10, and it has dropped down to below 7, and we haven't even started the season. Cool. And they gave us a wage budget of 404,000, which again, I thought was a tad bit high. Like if I dump all of that into the transfer budget, right? We've spent, what is that? 7 million. And then I could give us an extra, like, let's just say here, an extra 5 million, right? So we would end up spending a total of 12 million when our bank balance at the start of the season was less than that. Now we are going to get money from the Europa Conference League and all that kind of stuff, but I was just like, that, I mean, I was pleasantly surprised. And I also wasn't really prepared from a scouting standpoint because, again, I kind of thought we were just going to save this club and be done, but I do want to see this out for just a little bit. I'm not falling in love. Don't fall in love, GHG. Don't turn around. Anyway, and yeah, so we've spent some money. We're up to 287,000 on the wage budget, which is about roughly where we, I mean, it's like, what, 10, 15,000 more when we were last season, but we have spent some money on transfers. So let me go show you, ins or outs. I think the outs are less exciting, and so to keep you in suspense, we'll do them first. The only major out is going to be Thomas Fontaine, the guy with the spine injury, who, he was just okay, right? Like, he's a good backup option, but he just injured his spine, and it looked like all of his physical attributes were doing this, and I was like, yeah, I just don't think he's really going to play for us. Let's get rid. So we sold him for 350 grand, which is probably less than we should have. He's valued at 400 grand, but like we got him off the books, and he's really the only transfer out for money. So moving on, we have also loaned out again, but to a different club, Pierre-Yves Hamel, right? You'll remember we sent him to Mlada Boleslav in the Czech Republic for a, that 2 grand is not, that's not true. That's not true. Because they didn't pay his full wages, right? So now he's gone to St. Gallen in the Swiss Super League against FC Servette. Check out that series of mine if you haven't. That was kind of a fun one. I think that's where I learned of Marcus Thuram. So you can see they're paying essentially his wages, right? They're shaving 300 a week off of the actual wages, but giving us an extra, well, I guess more than that, really. Math. 1,000 a week in fee. So like it kind of works out, right? Like, or no, that's 1,000 a week per fee. Yeah. So like it's like barely more than his wages, but it buys us an extra season or the club an extra season. And then if I could sell him, great. But like I kind of was just like trying to like, all right, like, let's get moving and start clearing people out that we don't think we're going to use. He could fit, but like he's not so outstanding that I think he's worth fitting in. So we sent him on and off he goes. Now, this is a signing and also a loan out. So, Alessio Brambilla from Italy, right? Yeah. We picked him up on a free. It was an AC Milan product where he... but it's only 3 subs on a 5.8. Now, I'm not going to... I'm hoping... I didn't look. I'm hoping that's like 1 sub that actually was a 5.8 and then 2 subs with nothing. Otherwise, that's pretty poor. He also had 2 cup subs with no rating. So, it's like... Like he was available on a free, okay? So we've loaned him out to Ligue 2, below us to Stade Lavallois MFC, the mighty MFCs. I think he's a pretty darn good pickup. We're paying him 2 grand a week. They're paying 1,400 of it, so it's essentially like for this season an investment of 600 a week in him. He's currently valued at 155 grand, but he's 20, and I think with enough playing time, he's already gotten his first start, right? Because the season just started. I think he's got an opportunity to be a pretty decent player. Again, whether it's 3 or 4-star, like, again, we could sell him on, right? That's part of our club vision, is to sell players on. So I think, again, in a bind, we could have used him, but I was like, I think he looks good enough to buy, and that helps the club out in the future. Even if we, quote, just flip him for like 500 grand, when you only start the season with 10 million in the budget, that's kind of a big deal. He's also fairly professional with 14 determination, work rate, and teamwork, and I love that. He just wasn't good enough to keep around this season. So it's like, you go out for a little bit. It's not always so useful to compare players back to back, because then you go, oh, this one doesn't look as good, and we actually paid for this one. So Moritz Reuther, a German product, yeah. We paid 250 grand, and like, it does say we have add-ons up to 450, okay? But that's like if he gets to, I think it's like first 20 games and then 50 games. So it's like, by that point, he's kind of a proven product, and I think it would be worth it, right? We've loaned him out for not like a quarter of his wages, essentially, right? And I think the mistake I've made here is I've loaned him out to the regional division in Bavaria, so I'm not sure how much he's going to improve. My hope here, though, is that they've got him as a star player, and that, like, even if it's not in a playable league, that he'll, like, rock and roll. Because he's only really good to be in the National 2 level, but no one was really interested. But you see that potential. Now, again, I don't know if we're ruining him by loaning him out at 18 when we could have kept him around. And I can't recall the loan. Maybe I should have just left him. But I don't think I could have, because part of the agreement was when we signed him, he's like, I want to go out on loan. So it's a little bit of a punt, but I'm a little worried about the left back pipeline for the club. And I think, again, he's not as good as the guy we just saw that we picked up from AC Milan on a free, but he's got something about him, and he's going to be 19 towards the end of the season. So he's not one of those like old 18-year-olds, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're starting the season with him being 18 and a half. Give him a season under his belt, and then they can do something with him. Maybe. It might have been. We had so much like wage and transfer budget. I thought it was worth a bit of a punt to pick up a left back, because left backs, I don't know if you know about this, are hard to find. More on that in a minute. The other outs we had are essentially, B team or second team or youth prospects that just didn't work out. And they left on freeze. So we're not going to go through those. It's not a good use of our time. Our next in is Leo Oystergaard. I think it's Oy in the O with the, is it Oy? Oh, I did a series up there where I would know this, but I've forgotten. Anyway, we got him on loan from Brighton. And you know why? Because Brighton got relegated in 18th. So they were like, uh-oh, time to free up some wage budget, my friends. So we are paying essentially. Now, I think this is bugged, because maybe it's if we use him, because it says if he's unused 6,500, but if he's unused 8,750, we're essentially paying his wages. We're not paying a fee, right? So there's no like monthly fee that we're paying. He's pretty darn good. 21 years old. Now his potential's kind of dropped a little bit, which is interesting. We've been playing him a lot in preseason, right? He's got 4 preseason starts on a 7.5. Really more of a stopper. Gonna be honest with you, never have played with a stopper. Don't even really understand how a stopper works. So we've got him playing, not no nonsense, just regular defend. Okay, he's got decent enough pace. He's got really good aggression and bravery. He's got 15 heading. He's 6 feet tall. His jumping is the 13. He's already described as a powerful center back. And he wanted squad player minutes. Fantastic. We do have the option, which I like, because again, they're trying to like, they're kind of doing a little bit of the Schalke, right? Like Schalke's like, take him, right? I also think we didn't know this because I hadn't fully scouted an active relegation release clause of 8 million versus we have gotten an optional future fee of 4 million, which he's already worth 3.4. I think you could say we might execute that option, right? But we needed, because of some of the players, I didn't go through all the players that left because they left on like retirements. But we needed some depth here. So I am a fan of Leo. I am just going to show you all of the players that were released. Okay, so Marvelous Marveau, retired. A guy that was like, I don't know, the backup second team something or another, retired. We let Fabien Lemoyne, our captain, go, and he's retired from playing. He now wants to be an assistant. So I'm kind of gutted because I didn't realize that. We might have been able to use him. This guy, we thought about keeping. He's kind of like that second team player, but not very good. And he's moved on. Like, none of these players are really worth keeping. None of these are really shocking. Jeremy Morel, the fans are upset. Like, I looked at the transfer feedback from the fans. They're upset that we didn't make him a staff member. And I'm like, but he doesn't want to be one right now, right? He still wants to continue trying to play. Now, if he decides otherwise, and again, you could argue, maybe keep him for an extra season, but he's 37 going on 38, right? Like, these physicals were already falling apart, and he wasn't going to make us better. So I'm gutted because I hate to lose a guy like that from a club when he's been there all of a season. Come on, fans. But resolute, 16 determination, 15 teamwork. I kind of love that. But his body's just going to give up on him. So it was like, it's time to go. So you could see we have most of these are second team players that left. But just to kind of give you an idea, because it does kind of fill in some of the gaps here. And then Salmer, the Lille product that we loaned, who's now actually a Leicester player, we couldn't get them to redo the loan. So we kind of moved on from that, which left a gap in midfield. Speaking of gaps in midfield, transition smoothness, my friends. Yes, semi-professional content creator. Patreon.com/grayhairgaming. YouTube members, links in the description. Get in. Franco Ibarra, the Argentinian product from Atlanta United. I mean, yeah, not really. You know, Argentinos Juniors. And then came to Atlanta United, and then they cut him and he never played. So not a whole lot to go on here. But we scouted him pretty well, and we brought him in on trial. And again, he's 20. I think his playing time determines if that extra star shows up or not. He only wanted 2.6 grand a week. Impact sub worth 525 grand. He kind of plays not that attacking, although he loves it. He can play that central midfielder support role that we're using right now. Again, not very tall, can't jump, 5'7", like, I mean, a stiff breeze knocks him over. But kind of technical, kind of decent mentals minus the determination. We do have him in a mentorship group to work on that. But he didn't want, like, all these crazy minutes. And he's a good depth option. So we signed him. I think it's a good one. Next up, I felt we had a gap at left and right back, just primarily from a depth and aging player standpoint. So we have signed Lionel Di Placido, who's not Italian, like I just kind of said it. He's Argentinian. He's 27 and a half, a little bit. Picked him up for 2 million from the Club Atletico Lanús in Argentina. We went shopping in Argentina, you could argue, and they made a tidy little profit on him. Now, he gave him 19 total appearances last season, 15 of those starts on a 6.88 in the league. In the cups, because there's so many cups in South America, he had 12 starts with 2 goals and an assist on a 6.94. He's all right. Did we have him fully scouted? No, because he's in South America. And every time you send a scout to South America, it's like, go for 2 weeks, and they come back in and the knowledge has gone up 3%. And other teams were interested, but we knew enough. Fairly professional, fairly determined, good teamwork, work rate, and regular starter. 16,75 a week is not how you would say that. Why did I say it like that? But it did. But overall, this is him. He is our best right back over Laurent Auberger and Mendy, which is kind of concerning because Mendy started more, and Mendy's the one on the bottom here. I think he's all right. I don't think he's fantastic. I think he's all right, and he provides us a depth option because I was thinking, looking at this here, if this is Auberger, I thought we might sell Auberger, to be honest with you, because his crossing and dribbling isn't so great. He's an all-around decent player. He's very versatile, and that's great. He's got 15 determination. That's great. He's also wondering if he should move to another club, and I might not disagree with him, especially if we can cash in for $3 million. How much did we pay? Undisclosed. Fantastic. But either way, we needed more depth at right back, especially with some of those B team players disappearing that would be emergency backups. It's essentially Mendy, who is an actual right back, and Auberger, who is a midfielder who can play right back. So I think we've kind of solved that problem, but also given ourselves a problem because now we have 2 players that are on regular starter minutes at right back. It's fine. We'll figure it out. Now we've picked up a left back with left center back leanings. He's 6'1". He can play both positions pretty well. Again, we don't have any like 16s on the attributes on any of these guys, right? And I don't think really that was realistic. It's not his favorite role, but he can do the left center back, left foot only, ball playing defender. And I think that's also how we're going to get him some minutes. The benefit here, he only wanted to be a fringe player. And I was like, yes, please. Because if I offer a regular starter, you're going to want like 18 grand a week. So fringe player, but we're going to use him like a regular player. Yeah, starter, squad player, somewhere in that range, right? So like a squad player plus is where he's going to end up. And we got teams that are like, yeah, I want to loan out that fringe player. And it's like, no, we might need him is the idea. We paid 2.6 million. It could go up to 3.1 from Fiorentina. He did a 6.9 last season in Serie B with Spal on 38 straight starts plus 2 cup starts on a 7.75. So again, I'm not saying Serie B is the same as Ligue 1, but maybe the bottom of that is he's not unknown to good competition. And again, I think he's a pretty good looking player, especially with the fact this top player here, Pape Soler, is still out for another 5 weeks with a damaged Achilles tendon. So he is going to miss the start of the season, and his physicals are falling off, as you would do when you turn 31 and you snap your Achilles. Okay? So that makes sense. Right? So now we have some coverage there. Also, Vincent Legoff, who wanted more minutes, we gave a new contract to. He's now up to 7 grand a week. I think he was on like 4.4, but he'll take squad player minutes. So the beautiful thing is we can give him the start of the season to get him some of those starts. And we can rotate in the guy who doesn't want to start at the left back or the left center back. It's a beautiful thing, my friends. So Luca Ranieri is a fantastic pickup, if you ask me. Now, you could argue he's only valued at 1.9 million. You paid 2.6, but it's like, have you tried to find a left back in Football Manager or in reality? Especially one that can also play left center back? I thought so. Good deal. Thank you. Our next to last signing is Robert Andrich, who comes to us from Union Berlin. We paid 1.8 million. You know why? Do you know why? Because they got relegated. We went shopping at the relegation store. Yay! Find some good players that want to make their wages, and the clubs are like, we can't afford you. So even on a relegated team, he did a 6.97 in the Bundesliga on 31 starts, a sub, a goal, 5 assists. Okay? So they paid $1 million. They made a profit. They get to free up their wage budget. We're paying him 24 grand. He's an important player. Like, he was the signing. We waited so long because we were in a list of teams that were trying to sign him. I just think we gave him the highest status and probably the, ballpark same pay. I think he's a fantastic pickup. He gives us a problem in midfield, right? He's that ball-winning midfielder. He could also do box to box. He could also do the support role if needed, and in a bind he could be a backup 10, but really his role is a ball-winning midfielder. So what do we do? Again, we have Badu now and Aberge and Andrich, who can all play that role. Aberge can cover right back, but we have a right back. It's almost like I feel like Badu or Aberge needs to go because Andrich is going to get all the minutes. He's a tireless midfielder, fantastic mentals, 17 determination, 16 work rate, tackling is a 14. I'm really excited. And we paid 1.8 for a guy that's valued theoretically around 5. So even if we only sell him for 3, like, we've left the club. Whenever we leave this club, we've left them in a good spot with Robert. I'm really excited about this one, except for the problems that we talked about that it creates from a squad standpoint. Oh, also, because the rules, right? This is now in the 21-22 season. The rules have changed. You now don't get to have a bench of 12 with 5 subs. You have a bench of 7 with 3 subs because in this world, everything is back to normal. May we get there someday, please. But it also creates a problem with like, oh, I have a lot of players that I can't even put on the bench. Oh no. So we've had to make some decisions. Last but not least, it's kind of an emergency loan signing for Filip Stankovic. It's not Stankovic, is it? Please tell me it's not Stankovic. I'm going to go Stankovic because that sounds nicer. 2.5 grand, we're only paying wages. Backup, okay, 2.5 star, has some potential. Maybe he falls in love with us and wants to leave. I doubt it. He's an enter product. Yes. He's never played. So he's going to play for us because I was trying to find, you can see here. Okay. I was trying to find somebody that was equivalent to Matthias Dreyer, but had higher potential that we could buy. The only problem is there were like 2 goalkeepers we offered contracts to who got offers from like Ligue 2 teams or 2 Bundesliga teams or whatever to be the first team goalkeeper, and so they took that, which I don't really blame them for, but it was just kind of gutting. It's like, I'm trying to give you the opportunity to like incubate in our system and, you know, do that. It says he'd be available between 1.9 and 4.4. So if he turns out to be pretty stinking good, we might pull the trigger at some point. And the reason that we needed to get this guy in, I already wanted one more goalkeeper because our like youth prospects, as you can see down here, not very good. But also because right after the second goalkeeper we offered a contract to that turned it down, Paul Nardi twisted his ankle and he's out for 2 to 4 weeks left. He's already been out 3 days. So it's like, great, starting goalkeeper out to miss the beginning of the season. And I mean, like, it's not that I don't like Dreyer. He's fine. He came in that one time last season and was amazing, but like, he's just kind of okay. And so now I'm kind of going like, well, who do we start? I kind of think Philip is better because he's got better actual goalkeeping. Although when you compare, this is what's confusing to me sometimes. When you compare them, the shot stopping from Dreyer is better. That's that launching yourself and tipping the ball over, better physicals, but the distribution is better for Stankovic. So I'm kind of thinking for the easier games at the beginning of the season, we have Stankovic go, and then for the more difficult ones, we have Dreyer go. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but that's kind of where we're at. So these are all the signings here. We spent 6.75 million. We sold 425, I guess is what that looks like. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else. We've trialed a bunch of people. We got rid of one of our under 19 fitness coaches and we've stocked up on some additional staff members. Nothing too exciting there, but this is what I'm talking about. We now have, like, this looks a lot better. 2, 3, 4, 5. If this was the end of the bench here, this would look not so bad. 2 of these players are on loan, so we do have some cleanup that we're doing. And again, this is the problem. So our schedule, we have the Europa Conference League here before the end of the window. So I kind of want to see how that goes before we make any drastic decisions around like Badu or Aberge or any of that. We are trying to sell Quinton here, who's like the backup left back who can also play wing. He's just okay. We're trying to sell him for like peanuts, like 250 grand, whatever it is. What's their bid? 250 grand. He's just not going to make it. And it gets it off of the bench. We're trying to loan Diarra out because he's got a long-term contract essentially for his wages, I believe. Yep. And I've given him the option of Grasshoppers, yes, in the Swiss Super League or Dynamo Dresden in, I think, the 2 Bundesliga, because they both have great training facilities. So it's like, mate, they're going to pay essentially your wages. You go where you want. We don't have room for you on the roster. So Aware is coming back. We're trying to sell Laporte. I tried to sell Laporte. No one wants him. He's worth 1.8 million theoretically. So we're loaning him out for essentially his wages to Las Palmas, just so I don't have a guy complaining about not getting playing time who's on a squad player contract and he's alienated. So off you go, mate. That still leaves us with some problems. Okay. We still have Eric, who is now he's not even 2.5 stars because his physicals have fallen off because of his. That's not right. Has he still got the current injury? He had a really bad injury. I don't remember what it was. I don't think it was twisted ankle. Maybe I'm just blacking out and the twisted ankle destroys you physically. But he's really good at free kicks and I like him on the squad. So I'm going to give him a chance at the beginning of the season. But we also have, let me show you this. We still have Gribic here that we all know and love. we still have Umut Bozak, who was on loan last season, but actually looks a decent player. So I'm kind of like, do we keep some of these guys around just to see what happens in the Conference League and then loan them out, or what? Because our starters look like this right now: Mofi, Wissa, Boygar, Lorient, because Eric got horrifically injured apparently. Andrich, Julian Ponce, who was out on loan, is a FC Lorient product. Last season in the Ligue 2, he did a 7-1-4 and 38 starts with 5 goals and 6 assists. Not bad. Again, it was nice to have these players coming back. So when we lost Salmer, we said, well, maybe he could do a job. Again, I'm not saying he's as good, but like, I think he deserves a chance. So he's going to start the season. Lagoffs takes that left back starting spot. Like we talked about, Chalaba is back. Leo here that we talked about is going to get the start today, primarily because Gravelon has been on Gold Cup duty with Guadalupe. So he's Guadalupan. And look at that. Oh, yes, please. So I just want to kind of give him a little bit of a rest. And then Di Placido is going to start on the right with Stankovic in between the sticks for our next game against Troy, who just got promoted. But again, so you start scrolling down, you got, all right, Serdar takes this spot, okay? And then we got Eric here, but we also, if you scroll down, have Diarra, Gribic, Bozok. Same thing here. Eric, Diarra, Gribic, Bozok. I kind of wanted to pick up another 10, but couldn't find one. We have Enzo Lafi, who again has got really high potential, so I think it's fine. In a bind, we could rotate one of these other, attacking players into that role, or play a 4-3-3 with a DM, because we have a really good DM player here. In the midfield, we have Auberger, who can cover. Badu, cover, regular starter on both of those. Ibarra, Moncondui. And then center back, we've got, you might argue a little light if we sell Laporte, but we've got three main starters in Chalaba, Leo, and Gravelon. Okay, so that's 3 for 2 spots. Mindy, who is in competition now on the right back, can also play center back, and Luca, as we talked about, is in competition for the left back, but can also play. So I think we have enough coverage there to get Laporte off the books. That's our squad, my friends. From a schedule standpoint, we smashed just about everybody. This is like, I can't remember, director of football, whoever. I didn't set up the friendlies except for like Anderlecht and Armenia Bielefeld, and I canceled. They have like games like every 2 days. I was like, whoa, chill out, y'all. But we take on Troy, again, just promoted, I think. Yes. They won the league. Now they have been that up and down team, so maybe that gives us a little bit of hope that this isn't like the team that's going to come and finish 10th this season. Although last season you could argue it wouldn't have really taken much to do that. But then we go right into it with Lyon, which is a week later, and then 4 days after that we take on Atalanta. 4 days after that we take on Nantes, and then 3 days after that Atalanta, and then 3 days after that we are going to be ready for that first break in September. That's a break, isn't it? Or is it just like, that's a break? That looks like a break. We're gonna need it. Yeah, I always think this is because this is pretty different from what we had last season, right? Lagoff is the only, I don't even remember if Lagoff was a team leader last season. He is now, because we've made him the captain, because he was, I think, vice captain last season, maybe. The other 2 players that were here are they've retired. So that's kind of left a little bit of a leadership gap, a little bit. And also Andrich, as part of signing him, we made him the vice captain. And so Lagoff wasn't too thrilled about that until we made him the captain. But when you look at this is pretty good. Like the whole top 3 layers of the pyramid are like, I like that GHG guy. And then, some of them are brand new and you don't really blame them. Gribic, I'd have questions about. Like, hey mate, I played you a lot. I played you enough last season. Everyone else I kind of get. So dynamics overall looking pretty good coming in to start the season. I just think this is going to be this is a tough start. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, you don't want to let the season get out of hand here just because you're in the Europa Conference League. Now, Europa Conference League in the 4th, is that what this is? 4th qualifying round. If you lose, you get 100 grand. If you make it to the group stage, that's good. You get 190 grand per win, 63 grand per draw. It's a way for us to kind of start like making some money. But Atalanta is not anything to sneeze at either. So I kind of think we play our starters here and we play a quasi-rotated squad against Lyon, even though we need the league in order to have a stronger team in that first home leg against Atalanta. Although that feels kind of icky. I think that's what I'm going to bring you back for. Is going to be Atalanta doubleheader, and we'll see where we end up. I know this has been probably long. I can't tell because I'm recording it in snippets, but I'm going to take it back to here. Is there anybody coming in that we don't... Okay, that's a... Yeah, not really anything going on there. That's staff, all transfers. I'm curious what your thoughts are on these. I think we've been frugal, but not in like a negative way. And I'm really excited about Andrich because of he's like the biggest wage signing, even though we paid more for Luca and De Placido. But I think we've done pretty good business, and we left some. We haven't spent money we didn't need to spend, right? Because I don't want to leave the club in like massive amounts of debt just because to pick up another player. And some of the players that would have justified a higher cost would have like really messed up our system. I'm really excited about Terem Mofi and see how he does this season, but we'll have to see. Hit the like button, my friends. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye!